Hi everybody, this is Bruce with the Bowski Studio. I want to thank you for joining me today. I just want to give you a little heads up for the video you're about to see. I recorded some segments of video from the beginning, drawing in this subject, my little still life over there, and experimenting with a new thumb drive that I can store videos on from my iPad once a memory gets full. Failed me, so I did lose those videos. So you're going to be seeing the painting after the painting has been started. And sorry, I lost the drawing stage and all that. Really had some useful information in there, but things happen. And I hope you enjoy this. I'll be doing it because of the length of the video. I'll be doing it in 2 parts at the very least. For some reason I can't do over an hour video on YouTube. I don't know why, but again, thanks for joining me, and I hope you like it. And for all the new subscribers, thanks a lot for joining up to check out the videos, and for everybody else, thank you for being on board and watching my videos. So let's get rolling. I want to show you how much more detailed, but I'm trying to put the paint on kind of thick and in an interesting pattern. So when you look at the painting in its totality, it'll look interesting. It won't be in flat areas. It'll tie together that way. The instinct, that people might want to smooth all this out, but you want to tie in with everything else. And even though it may look very textured in relation to other textures they may use, it may look soft. So that's something else to think about. So I just wanted to show you that. Don't know how detailed we're getting, but let me pull this in a little bit. And I'll put in a few more strokes. So that's kind of, and as I do this over the whole piece, then I'll step back and look at it. Something else you can do too is earlier I was talking about mixing up some color, saving some up for the mother color. But when you're applying the paint and you're not sure if you're going to run out and have to mix some more, it'll turn out better rather than use up all your paint in one area and then remix and paint over here. Maybe you can experiment and try, like, do a few strokes over here, a few over here, because it's the same tone. And then as you begin to run out and you remix new color, it'll be tying in to patches of the old. And you'll have the mother color, and you'll get probably 95% close, if not a perfect match, depending on what you're trying to mix. So that'll, and then as you're mixing in between all this other stuff, it'll mix in with the old paint and look integrated. And that's the key. You want it to look like. Okay, now we're going to mix up some of the darker color here. Going to use a little bit of ivory black, ultramarine blue, the dioxazine purple. Test out the value difference is pretty shallow, so to speak. So I'm committing, just checking out. So it needs to be lighter than that. I'll mix in some of the mother color that I saved from the regular background here. And that's how we're going to do it. Alright, wipe off my brush. Just loosely pick up some of the darker lilac. What's going to help to get thick enough paint along that edge is when I smear it with my finger or some other soft. That's going to be really put some air in the piece, so to speak. And I saved a little bit of the darker lilac. Put that down here. Just to make sure I don't want to glare right now. I'm going to tilt this a little towards me. Try to get that glare off the wet paint. See how that looks in the viewfinder for you guys, my viewers. Looks all right. Cut around. And once I get up into the brush shadows, I'll switch back to that round. Do have some control cutting around shapes. So let's switch back to that. Get a little bit of white from the excessive light tone. Mix into the dark. And cut in there. Pick up some paint. Don't spread the paint too thin. Might get a, depending on how much you pick up on your brush, you'll get 3 or 4 strokes and then you're gonna have to reload. And that's going to allow some nice working edges when we go to blend. You could scumble edges too with drier paint, but this painting's about getting some paint on. It's one of my goals as a painter is to have more of a vitality to the paint surface. And one of the things that really revs me up when I look at work I admire is the brushwork. So that is something that is part of something I want to attain in my own work. So that's what I'm attempting to do. Ah, yes. Look at that. Now, I'm going to get a little more black ultramarine blue, dog seeing purple. I want to mix up a little darker tone that I can enter with my lighter tones. I pretty much have like 3 values going here with the dark. Certain areas that don't get a lot of light reaching it will appear darker, like in here. And I want to really accentuate where on this brush I'm going to be putting light. Not too dark, because when I do put the light, it'll make what's next to it appear darker. So just a bit. And that is I'm pretty happy with. It's really an honor, I mean really a privilege to be able to do this. We artists, we don't get enough attention while we're alive, and it's a shame, but you know, sometimes I think, wow, why didn't I go into something where, I'm not saying you can't make money and stuff, but it's a hard road. I've had some luck at different times, but being a gallery down right now. It's a challenge. So I'm using the opportunity, obviously do some more videos here, and then of course it's winter time, so doing some still life, and venturing into territories that I want to improve upon, like the still life painting. Really, like I said earlier, enjoy it. I've always wanted to do it, and taking the opportunity to do that. So now, one thing, since I've added this little bit of separation between some shadow brushes, you want to be careful that this shadow is not really connecting to anything. So I'm going to fib a little bit, because it'd be very hard to envision what those shadows are really looking like. So we're going to make up a little bit of a reality, a believable reality, and just do something like that. So I just wanted a little bit of light in this wide shadow, so that's why I added it. And you know what? It's okay. Just as long as it seems to fit in and make sense. Now, something else is, we got this shadow going to be that brush there, and we'll have to then make up just a bit, because you want to watch out where things end. For instance, what's this about? So I'm going to make up another little shadow. Because it's going to that light tone I made, I want to be sure to add some paint there. So making sure we're kind of straight on the brushes a little bit. Doesn't have to be super perfect, because soft edges there. But yeah, okay, I'm kind of liking that. Whoa. Now I'm going to work on the can. Okay. Going to work on the can a little bit, and something else to think about when you're painting reflections is usually the color reflecting in is darker than, of course, this outside color. So I've mixed up a tone. It's a little warmer than the white I see here. So I'm going to test again. I call it my commit stroke to get a comparison. And I think it needs to be a little darker and warmer. Test it over here. Nicer. I'm even going to want it with a little more red in it. All right. Now we can commit. And what I'm going to do first is cut a little around my reflected. This is where I'm going to correct this little bit of curve here that's a little bit off here. Just commit, stroke pull, one more pull all the way around. Judge this by this. Compare to your subject matter. Correct anything. Now we will fix this. This is a really exciting piece. I am psyched. I'm hoping you're enjoying it, and the information I'm sharing by talking as I go along. From what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's mentions of having more explanatory. So I hope this shows that want, from my perspective, to do that for you viewers. And it's going to be a while to get it out though with the upload. We'll do it right now. Put in some big tones here. This is going to become a mixture of some grays up in there, so we'll get to that. Doing some different directional strokes also. It's always something to go and paint in. I'll come back in with the white paint to reestablish the bit of highlight coming into that area. And where the white on the side here, it comes up into this area and comes down. And we'll, coming from the colored side here, pull up, needs to be just a bit like that. Okay. I can soften up these edges later when I come in with the dark tone of right there. And there's a few areas, like the highlight changes color in this area to this area. So it's a little yellowish. So I'm going to put that in right. I'm study, 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 and then commit. There. Okay. Put in the reflection of the linseed oil lid here. A little bit more black. And it's actually a bit, just a bit darker. Looking good. Okay, now soften this, steal some of that light tone, because it's really not, it's really fuzzed out in the reflection, the bottom of the turp cup. So definitely a study in reflections and such. Okay. And that there. Switch over just for a moment to this kind of grayish color that I'm going to try first with a little black and ultramarine blue and white. Let's see what, it's kind of like a greenish tone. I'm just going to knock in a generic mid value here that's about 80% color correct, and then modify it. Not too worried about, because I'll reestablish this highlight in a moment. A little bit more black. Okay. There's a few variations in the shift over. I see a band of a little darker right in here. This needs to dip down more. Watch out, because you're picking up your lighter tone. Remix some more dark paint. Reestablish again. There we go. That way you don't kill what you were trying to achieve there. And that looks pretty good. And there's a dark band. And while it helps to understand what's causing these, obviously I got a dark floor I'm standing on and a dark rug. There's a little bit of the table probably reflecting in there. There's different elements contributing to these reflections. Some, you know, you want to try to understand them, but won't get too caught up. If you make the right color and the right shape, all of a sudden you got what you're looking for. So there's a balance. Because sometimes you may not want to put in something that you're seeing because it just doesn't read right as a painting when you're done. So be careful, you know, that's artistic license as long as it feeds to the rest of the context of the painting and you don't just not do it because you can't or that sort of thing, because that would not be good. It's okay sometimes to paint yourself into a corner and like not know how to get yourself out. I can't tell you how many times over the years I've had paintings laying around because parts of them I liked, and then other parts I'm like, oh my God, what do I do now? Because I didn't have the experience yet. But you're never gonna get any better if you don't, so to speak, put yourself in a pickle and go, wow, you know, we want every painting to be, oh, I want it to be done, and everything's a learning curve, for sure. And if you want it to be, I mean, obviously you can keep painting the same old thing if you want. You'll find your way if you keep painting. Okay, we're getting there, Get some lilac. Getting a little bit of this reflection of the lilac color on the rim there. Excuse me. And I'm going to do a little darker. Try to get a little chromatic here. See what I can do for this part where the can starts to turn back around towards the background, which is now picking up, of course, the purple color. This is where you can clean up edges like this, strengthen that. And then we'll split that difference with a little lighter lilac color. Split that edge. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now, if anyone's interested, not that matters really, but I'm about, 11, I'm almost 3 hours into this. And obviously we're watching it live, so to speak, so everyone kind of knows that. So I fully expect this might even be 3 parts, I have no idea. This editing process. This morphs into there, a little soft edge right in here. Just touch it barely, wipe off the brush, pick up more. Do this. Starts to get a little grayish green and pick up some of the previous. And do that up here. Try not to stand in your way, sorry. And it's going to be important to get this can thing really nice. It's really going to make the composition pop, make the painting pop. Getting there, getting there. And I'm hoping my little new thumb drive thing that I offloaded the video onto when my iPad got full, I hope it transferred, or else you're going to not see any video, and it's going to be very heartbreaking for me because everything I'm sharing in this video, knowledge-wise, and just watching it come to life. We'll see. Now we can start strengthening some brightness. Where you get some intense right. Try this. Might be a little strong. We got a little bit of what colors, kind of a murky color right there. Let's try to split this, soften that. Okay. Give a little wipe to the brush, get off the excess paint. Pick up just a little lightness right in here. And reestablish side here. Okay, now we want to just where the can comes from underneath and out into the light, there's a darkness. This needs to be just a little more rounded. Take a little bit of the white from earlier, the grayish, kind of round that. Try to blend it in there a little bit. Okay, getting there. Now, what we got up here, is a dark lilac, black, right, a little lighter tone there. And like I said earlier, I'm not too worried about I gotta get some more highlights in there. Work on this a little bit. Right behind here is a little more there. How are we doing? I'm going to blend this out a little bit. Now I'll get some lighter tones in here. Some vertical would be good. It's a little bit greenish, some odd color right there. And I see it is a little greenish. So take a break for a moment, take a look at it.